Something extraordinary is happening on the world stage. A decision made here in Britain has sparked outrage not only at home, but across the globe. Leaders are speaking out, comparisons are being drawn to something far darker, and the British public themselves are rejecting it in record numbers. Today, we break down why Keir Starmer's latest move has left the country and the world in shock. Let's break it down, but first, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more. World leaders are now openly condemning Sir Keir Starmer's decision to impose mandatory digital ID cards on every single UK citizen. What should have been a domestic policy debate has now exploded onto the global stage. And the criticism isn't coming from fringe voices. It's coming from some of the most high-profile leaders in the world who are comparing this rollout to something far darker. The strongest words came from El Salvador's president, Nayib Bukele, who has warned that Starmer's digital ID scheme resembles what the Bible describes as the mark of the beast in the book of Revelation. That passage says, "He causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except the one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." Bukele pointed directly to this text, saying Britain's digital ID is not just another bureaucratic reform, it's the state moving toward complete control over its citizens. And when you think about it, that's exactly what's at stake here. Who gets to buy, sell, work, or even participate in society? Back here at home, the public isn't buying it either. In fact, GB News conducted their largest ever poll with over 8,000 respondents asking whether digital ID was a price worth paying to crack down on immigration. The results were overwhelming. 92% said no. Only 8% thought it was worth it. That's not a split opinion, that's a total rejection of Starmer's policy. The British people clearly understand what's at stake. They've seen how national ID cards have been used in other countries, and they know the dangers of giving the state too much power. Critics across the political spectrum have been lining up to denounce the plan. Former Conservative Minister Anne Widdecombe said the lack of ID cards has made it easy for migrants to disappear into a flourishing underground economy, but she warned that Starmer's plan will do nothing to solve that problem. Entrepreneur Adam Brooks went even further, saying it risks turning Britain into China, where the state controls every aspect of daily life. And Reform UK leader Nigel Farage has also thrown his weight behind the opposition, calling the move an outrageous overreach of state power. Farage made it clear digital ID won't stop illegal immigration. Instead, it will be used to control ordinary citizens, punishing the law-abiding majority while doing nothing to address the crisis at the channel. And it's not just politicians. Grassroots opposition has exploded online. A petition against the rollout has already surpassed 1 million signatures, forcing Parliament to at least consider a full debate. The petition states, "We demand that the UK government immediately commits to not introducing digital ID cards. No one should be forced to register with a state-controlled ID system." The organiser, Maxim Sutcliffe, has been clear. This is a step toward mass surveillance, digital control, and the erosion of basic freedoms. And the numbers don't lie. Hundreds of thousands of people are signing up every single day, determined to block this policy before it's too late. Of course, the government is trying to defend the rollout. Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy has claimed that while every citizen will be issued a digital ID, it will be entirely their choice whether or not to use it. But think about that for a moment. If you're forced to have one, then what kind of choice is it? Keir himself has insisted this is an enormous opportunity for Britain, promising that it will strengthen borders, reduce illegal work, and make life safer. He's also said that new encryption technology will prevent fraud or abuse. But the reality is clear. Once the state has this level of control, there's no going back. And that's why world leaders are warning Britain. It's why polls show overwhelming opposition. It's why over 1 million people have signed a petition to stop it. Because digital ID isn't about border security, it's about power. Once the government controls whether or not you can buy, sell, or work, they control everything. This is no longer just a policy debate, it's a fundamental question of freedom. And the whole world is watching to see whether Britain will submit to digital control, or whether the people will rise up and stop it before it's too late. In other news, more retirees are now using their pensions to give regular cash gifts to their children, and in some cases cutting their future inheritance tax bill in the process. Financial advisors say many pensioners are no longer taking all of their 25% tax-free pension lump sum in one go, but instead choosing to draw it down in smaller regular payments. These payments are then passed on to children or grandchildren as surplus income. Under a little-known inheritance tax rule, gifts made out of surplus income are exempt from the 40% tax charged on estates above £325,000. Crucially, they do not fall under the usual 7-year rule, meaning the money escapes tax straight away, as long as the person giving it away can prove it came from income and that they still have enough left to maintain their usual standard of living. Wealth managers say this tactic is becoming increasingly popular as families look for ways to pass money down the generations while avoiding a hefty tax hit. Despite the potential savings, very few people are actually using this inheritance tax exemption. A Freedom of Information request by wealth manager Quilter found that just 1,490 estates made use of it in the past 3 years, less than 2% of those paying inheritance tax. Experts say the rules are complicated and the paperwork is off-putting, which explains why take-up has been so low. But interest is expected to grow, as from 2027 pension savings will start being included in inheritance tax calculations. That means more families could look to this approach as a way of passing on wealth while keeping their tax bills down. Nick Nesbitt, head of private client at Forvis Mazars, stated, "There is a growing view that pension tax-free cash can be classed as income for gifting purposes if taken gradually over time." Eamon Prendergast, chartered financial planner at Palantir Financial Planning, confirmed witnessing increased activity. "I've definitely seen an uptick in this, particularly among higher net worth clients. It's not just from tax-free cash, but from other pension withdrawals and forms of income too." He explained that successful implementation requires the gifting has to be regular, sustainable, and not impact your standard of living. Otherwise, HMRC are likely to challenge it. Nevertheless, professionals emphasize that treating pension tax-free cash as income for gifting remains a grey area without definitive guidance from HMRC. Tax professionals caution that the absence of explicit HMRC guidance creates substantial uncertainty for beneficiaries who might face unforeseen tax demands. In theory, this means you can pass your tax-free cash on completely tax-free, but HMRC hasn't clarified this position yet, Mr. Nesbitt explained. Mr. Prendergast characterized the approach as risky because recipients of inheritances could encounter unexpected tax obligations. Until HMRC provides proper clarity, this area will remain risky, but for clients who can afford it and keep thorough records, it can still be a valuable planning tool. Zoe Douglas, director at Meliora Financial Planning, expressed skepticism. "I find this area particularly grey. Personally, I would err on the side of caution and say it's unlikely to be considered income for gifting purposes." Keeping detailed records is vital for anyone trying this strategy, with advisors warning that without clear evidence of regular gifting, HMRC could challenge it later. Record keeping is absolutely key. If clients can't clearly show a pattern and that the gifts are genuinely from surplus income, it will be difficult to defend later, Prendergast warned. Ms. Douglas called for greater transparency. "I'd certainly welcome greater clarity from HMRC on what constitutes gifting out of income, so the rules are more transparent and easier for clients to understand." When approached for clarification on whether pension tax-free cash qualifies as income for gifting purposes, HM Revenue and Customs declined to provide definitive guidance. We consider each case on its facts, a spokesperson said, because inheritance tax is only assessed after someone dies. Families may not know whether HMRC will accept the gifting arrangements until it's too late, leaving estates open to dispute. What are your thoughts on what we discussed in today's video? Let me know down in the comment section below. If you have not yet already, make sure you do drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for more British content. Thank you, take care, goodbye.